Guys, welcome back to Team 1D, and in this video I'm going to be going over diabetes hacks I wish I knew as a beginner, and pretty much just going to be over things that I wish I had known when I was first diagnosed with diabetes over a year ago now, and things that would just help me manage diabetes better when I was first diagnosed. So the first tip is to keep a small diabetes kit whenever I go out, especially for more than an hour or two. I would recommend keeping like a diabetes kit with your CGM and with a couple other things. And I feel like this just helps you kind of in situations that you might need, especially if you're going out for more than an hour, like more than 2 hours especially. I recommend bringing this kit. Like for example, this is the kit I have. It's like in here, and pretty much what's inside is I have like pads, alcohol stuff, and then I have like a spare pod in there so I can apply it, and then also a pricker here so I can put my blood sugar in check, check my blood sugar, a glucometer, and then as well as one of these Baqsimis or Narcans. So this is kind of everything I have here in my diabetes kit, and I recommend that everybody carries one of these with them when they're going out for more than a couple hours, just because like things like the Baqsimi, things like the glucometer are definitely important things that you might need if, for example, your CGM isn't working well, or if you don't have a CGM, or if your blood sugar is dangerously low and you need to have Baqsimi administered. This is something that is a must-have to keep yourself handy, to keep yourself safe, and to also know your blood sugar, and to have a kind of a backup to check your blood sugar as well. And also like to change your pod if your pod runs out, if you're going out for a long time. So yeah, I would definitely recommend having a diabetes kit. I didn't have this originally, but I got it pretty soon on after being diagnosed, and it would definitely help me manage type 1 diabetes better. And also, another thing I'd manage having was not necessarily a kit, but I recommend having something like this, which is a Frio. It's pretty much kind of a mini cooling product, and this helps me when I go to school because I pretty much put insulin pen here. So then if I don't want to bring this, or if I don't have like a pod with me, what I do is I just bring this like with my backpack, put it in my backpack, and then this kind of, you dip it in water and it keeps it cool. And then inside of it, there's a pen. So pretty much when my blood sugar is going high, if my pod's not working, I can just give myself insulin from the pen, and I don't have to change a pod or to bring a pod with me. Everywhere I go, I can just bring a pen, and it's much more consistent and secure. And I know that I have a pen, worse comes to worse, and I can just use a pen to administer insulin. So yeah, I'd recommend having kind of one of these with you if you're going out for long periods of time, or one of these, or both. Especially if you're going to school, I think this is like a good thing to have for sure, because you can just put it in the side of your backpack and then just like use it. A lot of times I use this if, for example, my pod doesn't work, my phone runs out of battery sometimes. So I definitely recommend having this if you're going to school, if you're a student, because if your phone runs out of battery, for example, during school times, you can't even administer insulin. Like I have power banks sometimes, but sometimes it runs out of battery, so I can't even administer insulin. So the only way I can eat is through this. So this definitely saves me a lot of times from going hungry. So I definitely recommend having this as well for that reason. The next tip or hack I would recommend doing is to set reminders for checking your blood sugar and also administer insulin. This is kind of more of a thing for people who do not have pumps, because if you do have a pump, you don't really have to set reminders for checking your blood sugar, because sure, it's administer insulin because you have a pump that does it for you, and you don't have to do that long insulin shot because you have a pump that automatically gives it for you. And also, blood sugar checks is also something that I would recommend only doing if you mostly if you don't have a CGM, because if you have a CGM, the blood sugar checks are gonna happen already for you. But if not, then I would recommend checking your blood sugar, of course, every like 2 hours, and also administering insulin and putting alarms or reminders for both of those things. And the next thing is to organize your pumps and CGMs and diabetes supplies in general properly in a place that's like kind of organized a bit, because something I've kind of noticed is that if your diabetes supplies are unorganized, it's kind of messy. It's hard to like manage everything and get stuff, and like it's just more efficient if you have everything organized properly, because then it actually saves time in the long run. So for example, I have everything in my garage, all my diabetes supplies there, so I can just go in and know where everything is. I can just get my pod or CGM, whatever I have to change, and just change it and quickly, and it's very efficient, very good. Or like my other diabetes supplies, for example, like this, my needles, my gauze pads, I know where everything is, quickly get it. So it's just I recommend knowing where your diabetes supplies are and organize everything well, so then you know where everything is. You can be more efficient and you can just save time in the long run. So yeah, I recommend doing that. And then also an important tip that I would recommend doing that a lot of people don't do, especially not initially, is to learn how to correct highs quickly. So oftentimes, if you don't have a pump, or even if you do have a pump like the Omnipod 5, which I'm using currently, I've learned that it's really not good at correcting highs. Corrects them really slowly, doesn't really give much insulin for highs at all. So I recommend correcting highs quicker than it does. So for example, if my blood sugar is high, it might be getting like 0.1. What I recommend doing is what I do is bolusing myself for example, my blood sugar is 200, bolusing 2-3 units myself if I don't have any insulin on board, or I barely have enough insulin on board to bring me down. What I do is I just bolus and administer insulin myself automatically to bring myself down, because I figured out that the pump actually does not do a great job of bringing me down, and it brings me down very slowly. So if I do it myself, I can kind of minimize that increase that happens with my blood sugar and bring my blood sugar down much faster. So this is kind of a tip that you can do if you want. If you're scared about having lows, you don't have to do it. But I figured out that this is actually worth it, and it doesn't really give me that many lows for me personally. And for me, it just brings me down my blood sugar faster and brings me to a better level than I would have had without doing this. Also, another tip or hack is to find a support system around you, because especially when initially being diagnosed, diabetes is definitely a really hard thing to deal with. It might cause some mental health challenges, and so I definitely recommend having and building a mental support group, whether it be with your doctors, or especially with things with organizations like Breakthrough T1D, which is a really good organization. I recommend it, where they do different community groups. They hold talks, different events and activities for diabetic people, like teens from all ages, kids. So yeah, definitely have this. It would be good to communicate with people who are kind of doing the same thing as you are, and it just kind of puts the weight off your shoulders, and definitely helps connect and bond with people who are dealing with the same situation as you. Another thing I recommend is to prep for snacks, or for example, always bring, this is one of the most important things, always bring a glucose tablet, or just a low snack with you wherever you go. Even if you're only going for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, maybe not 2 hours, 3 hours, I would still definitely recommend having a low snack with you wherever you go, because you never know why you might need it. Your blood sugar could tank, especially if you have high IOB or if you're doing exercise. I would highly recommend this. It's a must, because if your blood sugar just starts tanking, you're definitely going to need some sugar to compensate that and to bring your blood sugar up. And if you don't have that sugar, if you forget, or if you just don't have it with you, it's going to be really, really devastating, and it could cause you to go dangerously low. And yeah, it's just really dangerous, and it could also cause lots of panic if you don't have that with you. And it's just a really big hassle to deal with, so I definitely recommend having that, and it's a must. And the last thing I would say is something I've already said, but to keep a spare pump with you, or a CGM with you wherever you go. Not all the time, but especially if you're going out for extended period of time, if you're going out for a trip, if you're out for a bunch of hours, it would be nice to keep a CGM or a pump with you, or a pump, in case something fails and you might need to change it. Especially CGM is really easy to change, or a pump if you need to as well, because especially if you're going for school trips, vacations, or even sports, it's definitely going to be good to have a spare CGM with you. So yeah, these are some diabetes tips and tricks that I wish I knew when I was a beginner. Like and subscribe to the video, and comment any questions you guys have, and any more tips you guys want me to do or cover. And yeah, thanks for watching.